Do you find yourself on the fence on what #1 issues to buy? Well, welcome to Worthy Ones, the video series where I go over the newest #1 issues to see if they're worthy or not worthy. Guys, we got a few issues to talk about. Welcome back to the channel. Here we go. We're gonna kick off this bad boy with Spawn Unwanted Violence issue 1. This book is done by Todd McFarlane, and we also have the art done by Mike Del Mundo. Let's check out the artwork here before we dive a little bit into the story. It's not bad artwork. It's actually pretty good. It's actually kind of creepy at times. Check out some of the dialogue in there. It's all right. It's a pretty solid book. It's grotesque at times, and what this story had to offer was about Spawn tracking down the freak, and he sends the freak on some kind of mission, right? And we get to see kind of like what the freak does, like how he punishes people. And then once Spawn tracks him down, he says, all right, you gotta take care of some situations, and he goes and he tracks down some business guy, and then he goes after this girl with cancer. I don't know if he's trying to help her. Spawn deals with real world situations with protests on the other side of things, and it was an okay book. My problem with this book is it was very expensive. It was $5. The book was thick. There was a lot of pages in the comic book. However, if you can see here, the dialogue was just almost next to nothing on every single page. And even though an artwork can tell the story very well, I just felt like, for me, this book was missing something. It felt a little bit disjointed. And you know what? With all the other Spawn books that are coming out right now, do I need another Spawn book? And is #2 gonna be another $5 book? In all reality, Spawn is a great comic book character, but just like anything else, when you oversaturate it, people are going to get tired of it. And when it comes to the Spawn books, they all are kind of blending together a little bit, except for Gunslinger. I feel like Gunslinger is a completely different monster, and that's why I love that book so much. This book is a mini-series. It's not going to be an ongoing, so I'm going to deem this book not worthy. And giving this book a grade, I had to give this one maybe a C. Again, there was nothing here that really stood out that made me attach myself to the freak or to even Spawn himself. All right, the next #1 comic book we're going to be talking about is Kelly Thompson's Black Cloak. This is issue 1. What a great looking cover, man. When you see this cover, what do you want to know? You want to know who that redhead is. What does she look like inside? What do the other characters look inside? What is this world, right? And then you open up this book and the artwork just does not even come close to matching what's on the cover. Now, yes, I know that exterior art is most of the time different from the interior art, but this book is like a freaking cartoon for me. Like, look at these weird facial expressions. I just could not get myself to like this comic book whatsoever. In fact, the artwork took me so out of the story that I stopped reading it in 8 pages, because not only did I not like the artwork, but I don't care about this mysterious murder that happened to a character that I don't even know yet. Why are we gonna murder a character that I don't even know? I couldn't even tell you. And then we get introduced to all these other characters that have all these names, and there's all these different things that are going on in the very beginning. You got these weird creatures. So right from the start, you're trying to understand what has happened in this world. Who are all these characters? Who is this mystery murder? And not only that, but you have to read about 60-something pages of this comic book, right? So for a reader that's trying to jump on a new title, I find this very overwhelming. You could have cut this book in half. Maybe it would have been a little bit better, but I just thought it was just too much. And if I had to make a comparison to what I thought was a better #1 or introductory to a story, the story that Jason Aaron writes, which is Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, where it only had to deal with 2 characters and apocalyptic situation. Right away, what Jason Aaron does is he gets you to know these characters, what their emotions like, how they live in the outside, how one lives on the inside, and how these two can be developed with each other and work together in a very tough world, right? Here, I'm just introduced to here you go, here's all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't care. I just don't care. It just was not entertaining for me whatsoever. And that's unfortunate because this book is like a $5 comic book, right? It is pretty expensive, but I couldn't get into it. It's just not my thing. If you like it, hey, that's great. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I mean, that's what's great about this industry, this hobby, is that there's something out there for everybody. And if this is for you, that's okay, you know? But for me, it just wasn't my thing. I couldn't get into it. And with that being said, I have to deem this comic book not worthy. And if I had to give it a grade, personally, my grade is an F. It just did not capture me whatsoever, and that's what deserves an F rating. Artwork doesn't fit the tone of the book. Story did not interest me. Characters could care less. The world, I don't care. Just everything about it in there just did not capture me whatsoever. And Kelly Thompson, I said this before, is a hot or cold writer for me. There's some things that she writes which is really good and funny and awesome, and then there's other things that it just misses the mark. And unfortunately, Black Cloak issue 1 missed the mark. I was really hesitant about buying this book, and the only reason why I truly bought it was because it was on my FOC. I was going to change my mind. Me and my friends on our live stream, post live, we actually talked about if we should buy the Avengers War Across Time issue, okay? And I was like, oh man, this takes place like in between stories and stuff like that. And I'm like, sometimes those stories are not so good. And you know what? I am really happy that I actually bought this book. This was a lot of fun. This is written by Paul Levis. Alan Davis does the artwork. And if you guys are jonesing from like 60s, 70s Avengers, this book is for you. I mean, right from the very opening page, you get that Silver Age feel to it. Not only do you get that feel, but you get the characters written that way. Because yes, this story does take place at the time of Avengers issue 11, where our Earth's Mightiest fight robotic Spider-Man, and King the Conqueror is the one that's behind the whole ordeal. This issue takes place after that, and you wind up getting to see Kang create a Hulk, because he feels like the Hulk is the strongest one there is, and he's going to make him into a robot, and he's going to fight. The Hulk is going to fight all of Earth's mightiest heroes. And even though this book maybe shouldn't have been like 60 pages or 50 pages, however long that it was still fun to read, to see Hulk just kick everyone's butt. The other thing about this book is, again, the way the characters were written. The dialogue from them was back from that time age. So this was Stupid Hulk, where Hulk smash Puny Man, Captain America was like Flag Man. Like, it was so funny to see Hulk speak this way. The other thing that was kind of awesome too was like Janet Van Dyne in this book. You know, she's dating Hank Pym, and she's like a flirt, dude. She's like flirting with Thor, and then she goes to Hank and she's like, how about you come to the showers, big boy, and we can wash off that sweat from the jungle. And you're like, oh man, we're getting a little racy. I mean, not a little racy, but we're getting a little, you know, it's like pushing the envelope a little bit here, you know? So it was kind of hilarious, you know? I was like, man, Janet, you're a little firecracker. But yeah, the artwork was really good, and this was a lot of fun. Now, at the end of the day, you wind up getting to see our heroes prevail against this Hulk, of course, but then the next thing you're going to see is Kang throw something else out there towards the Avengers. Again, another fun thing in this book was Iron Man's armor. The stuff that it could do back then was hilarious. And when I mean hilarious, I'm talking about not just repulsor rays or flight, but he can create roller skates from the bottom of his feet. That was some great stuff. Again, guys, this was a book where if you have the extra money to spend, it's a $6 comic, and you want a fun time and you want something to remind you of what Silver Age comics were, but without the crazy and heavy dialogue, this is it. This is the book. So I'm going to deem this book worthy. That's right, guys. This was awesome, and I'm happy I did not pass it up. And if I got to give this book a grade, I'm going to say that this one was a solid B. Again, little pricey for what it was, didn't need to be so long, little bit basic storytelling, but you know what? That's okay. All right, I've been pushing this book all week, guys, and this goes to Mark Millar's Nemesis Reloaded. Now, I'm just letting you know that this book is not going to be for everybody because this book tackles issues that probably people are sensitive to. Just like the last volume that happened over 13 years ago, this one is going to tackle an issue where if you find that you're sensitive to it, then don't read it. I'm just letting you know that now, okay? So this book is not for everybody, but it is a well-written book. And when you think about Nemesis, Nemesis is the evil Batman. Whatever Batman does, you know, Nemesis is not going to do. Like, Nemesis is not going to save your life. Nemesis is going to use a gun. Nemesis is going to kill people. He's not going to show mercy. And, you know, so it's that type of character, okay? This book is crazy because right from the start, Nemesis has a plan. And his plan is to take over Los Angeles. And this plan is 20 years in the making. The artwork is what you can expect from Jorge Jimenez. It's absolutely gorgeous. So if you're missing his artwork in Batman, you got to read this book, right? It's so cool. Nemesis, right from the start, takes all these mob bosses and mafia and he puts them against each other and he puts blindfolds on them. He sticks weapons in their jackets or wherever and he says, listen, if you guys want to live, you got to fight each other to survive. And the last person standing, you're going to get a reward. So you wind up seeing all these people wind up stabbing, killing, you know, each other. You get one guy that winds up saying, hey dude, I'm freaking the last one standing, what do I get for this? And the next thing you wind up seeing is Nemesis just shoots him in the head. Now this is a spoiler, but I just wanted to let you know that this is the type of book that it is, and that's the type of character that this guy is. He goes on this big jewel heist, and now his plan is in motion to take over all his Los Angeles. He's going to use the people of Los Angeles to make sure they take out the police force in all of Los Angeles. So what he's doing is he puts a bounty on every single police officer's head, and he's going to give $10,000 per person for taking care of the police. That's crazy. That's dark stuff. And if you're sensitive to that material, this book is not going to be for you because we're writing about police brutality, and that's not for everybody, right? But again, that's what you can expect here. One of the reasons why Nemesis is going after this area is because of this mayor, this politician that he doesn't obviously agree with. So that's really what this book is in a nutshell. It's a phenomenal read. I love the gore aspect. You know, again, some of the topics that happen in this book could be controversial, but if that doesn't bother you, I'm going to deem this book worthy. Awesome read. I can't wait to see how this plan continues to flesh out. If I got to give this grade, I can't give it an A just because of some of the things that it tackles. I'm going to give it like a B+. Let's move on to the main event, shall we? Here we go. DC Universe Lazarus Planet Alpha. Now, if you want to continue this story, you're going to have to continue it in your favorite DC comic books. There's no main events. There's no 1 through 6. The only tie-ins, I guess, are through Monkey Prints. So if you don't want to read the tie-ins to this story, read freaking Monkey Prints. I'm not reading that. And when it comes to this book as a whole, I felt like this title is made too soon. We just had Crisis end. Our heroes have gone through the ringer. It's even noted in this comic that not all the DC heroes could make it to this event because they're either dealing with this situation or have been disassembled because of what happened with Crisis, right? And there's just not enough time to breathe. It's like all of a sudden, holy shit, the volcanoes are erupting, the weather phenomenons are having, we have to intercept, you know, we have to get these artifacts from the Dark Tower, we have to get Devil Neza because Batman's going to die. And there was a lot of action in it, and it did feel like, you know, their backs were against the wall, but again, it was just a little bit too soon for me, right? I thought the artwork was pretty good in this comic book. It's done by Riccardo Federici, which, you know, at times his facial expressions are a little weird. His characters are a little bit inconsistent. So for instance, like there's a page here with like Power Girl. Like, I don't know, she just, I don't think her face looks off. She's maybe the way she's bent, it looks a little bit off. But then there's another page where she's flying in the sky and she looks mighty, she looks strong, like this one right here, and I love that page, you know? And so, again, there's just little inconsistencies on the artwork, but Blue Devil looks good, Swamp Thing looks good, Poison Ivy looks good, the action scenes are pretty good, but the book itself, it was just like one huge battle scene to, again, try to get these artifacts, to try to get these magic users, to try to stop Devil Nez's son from coming through, and to save Batman. And which looks like that Batman was going to basically die at the end. Batman becomes something much more in this comic. And you're kind of like, whoa. Now, does Batman have magic? Like, is he a demon? Did Devil Nez's soul go into Batman? Is he an enemy? So it leaves you with that crazy cliffhanger there. The book was okay. Like, I can't say it was a bad book. It wasn't a bad book. It was fine. It's just I feel like it's just too much too soon. I mean, maybe that's just me. But I'm gonna deem this book worthy because it's like there was enough there to keep me interested, right? It didn't knock my socks off like I usually say, but it was a book that was worth reading, and hopefully it continues to improve. I don't know though. I don't know. It's gonna be these one shots that are gonna make it or break it for me, you know? So I'm really curious to hear in the comments below what you guys thought of this one. If I had to give this one a grade, oh man, this is the toughest grade as of yet. I'm probably gonna give this one a C+. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a C+. This was a tough book to grade in my eyes, because there was definitely many variables, and it's just gonna take place throughout many books, and I don't know if we're getting different writers on those books, so it's gonna be a little weird. So yeah, there's that. Lazarus Planet. So we have some good weeks and not so good weeks. Guys, consider powering that subscribe button and pow that notification button so you don't miss any content from me. Speaking of content, here is my newest comic book haul as I was racing to get to the comic shop. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Guys, keep buying, keep collecting. As always, read your comics. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow.